always looks super solid, but they've got Insomniac on side. They've had yet another week to work with him. It could work out for them, but with how things are stacking up for Orgless and Hungry, it's going to be tough.
It's a double-edged sword with Track, though. Yes, he's a very phenomenal, and he does lead the team to victory when he wins, but relying on one person to be your main focal point, it's difficult, and it's easy to counter for a team like Orgless and Hungry to look at. We're going to jump on the village to kick things off on the Parn already. They've now managed to find themselves on that point. Tanks going into the front line, Charge coming out straight into the trap. Shax has found Track in the chaos, so they're going to use a concussion mine to get him off the point. Still holding on for Orgless and Hungry. They're keeping that to Disband off the point. Tank's going low. He finds Limit with another grenade coming out. And now Moira going has to dash away. That's Disband conceding control to start things off.
First fight went exactly how you would expect, and we spoke about it in the last round. Look at Tonic here with his ultimate. It's already about to come online. These Reinhardts getting in the front line and swinging away, definitely doing work. Limit was spending more time with his shield up because he got caught on the Junkrat trap. Big cost for them over something so small. But that's a Disband quite convincingly lose their first fight.
You want to talk about ult charges as well, Des? Shax and Track, despite Orgless winning the fight, are on identical ult charge. So that Junkrat Riptire is going to come up for both of them very short. One faster than the other, depending on how this next engagement goes. And that's Disband on the high ground. Gives a slight advantage to Track so he can pepper them down. There's an Earth Shatter coming out, blocked by Limit, so it's not going to find anyone. Charges into the point, Limit going low, falls down to the Coalescence. Double kill for Track's Riptire. We're waiting for Shaxter to come out. Where's it going to come from? There's lots of targets for him to pick out. He gets a double as well onto Mouse and Track. DPS and Tank going down. So Orgless and Hungry, they're going to have the damage advantage, but not the sustain. They're going to be able to kill. They can't heal. Tri-Spear jumps off the edge. Orgless and Hungry hold on.
It's quite funny how in most comps you talk about whether or not you see a Tracer get into the backline and drop down the supports, because ultimately that removes the backbone of a team. In this game, the real backbone is both of these Junkrat players. They're the ones raining the damage down onto the point, dropping the shields, and then enabling the engage to come through on the other side. It's so hard to push forward as this Tri-Tank set with a Lucio when you know there may well be a concussion mine or a trap waiting for you. So remove that problem by getting rid of the Junkrat first.
Earth Shatter down, Riptire down. You've got Graviton Surge and Self-Destruct for Orgless and Hungry, so they have a combination available. They just need to get it around Limit shield. He's been the first one to die in these fights most times, so I don't think it'll that much of a problem for them unless that's a bit standard. Changing it up. He's half HP. That's the shatter they were looking for. Sound barrier to counter, but Tonic is already down. Facility moving on to the point, getting more charge. Graviton Surge to pull them together. Where's the combination? There's the self-destruct to find Insomniac and Mouse. They're putting out one of their own to stall them, get them off the point, try and reset the fight. But Finzi, Facility, these tank and flex players for Orgless and Hungry, they pulled it through for them.
Handling it so effortlessly, and Finzi is Wongo. We didn't touch on too much in the pre-game. He has been one of the most stellar D.Va players we have seen so far in all the contenders. And it's definitely becoming apparent in the last couple of weeks how good some of these players are. He's definitely up there in my top few.
There's a lot of contention though. We saw last game, the tanks are coming up huge for Angry Titans, and tanks in Group A, they may not be as flashy as the ones we see in Group B, but they're doing the work and they're getting the results, and that's what counts.
A lot of it at this stage comes down to the duos as well. You look towards these top few teams when we keep on talking about individual players. For a lot of the mid-table teams, you might say. For these top guys, though, every single time you speak about the duos that are coming through, it's the big names. In this case, we were speaking about Shax and Facility. They enable each other to be so much better. Tonic isn't always the biggest standout main tank, but Finzi has the opportunity to shine based on how much room Tonic is creating. That's what you want from a main tank, is space, and he gives it in buckets.
But that's Disband. They're going to be running that triple tank Reaper composition we saw last series onto Shrine. And the exact same counter almost coming out that Singularity had is going to be on the side of, and I completely forgot the name, Orgless and Hungry. But they're going to be running it slightly differently because you can see everyone's pocketed and closer together. Facilities with supports this time, and that was a key flaw we pointed out in what Singularity tried to do.
Big mistake they made last time round with the Soldier was trying to play him near the point because it was just so easy to get onto him. Soldier, you want to generally give high ground, give somewhere where he's quite safe and isolated. Let him just rain down a few spraying bullets from afar and then go in with the Hex Rockets and try and get the kill off the back of that. However, point currently being held for the most part, but that's a Disband. Kills are starting to come across their way.
Track getting a kill onto Tonic. Shax answering back onto Mouse. Finzi somehow stays alive in the confusion. Sat up on his perch, flew into the flight. Get out. That's a Disband. Get their first percentage of this map. And they're very much going to entrench themselves and let Orgless and Hungry be the aggressors.
What you have to consider with this comp where you see the Tri-Tank with the Reaper is it's still essentially for like quad tank except with more bite back. You don't have any shields, but you have the safety of the Reaper. It's the damage that he does. You try and match a quad tank or a Tri-Tank with your own Tri-Tank. Generally, you want to get the two together and just have a massive smash up like we saw on that first point on Village. The Reaper just really prevents that fight from coming through. And Orgless and Hungry are really struggling to get onto the point.
Well, Facility's health bar is moving more than an equalizer on a music bar at the moment. It goes back and forth. He popped the tack visor, finds the limit. That's one tank down. He's got Barbecue in his face. Can he sustain it by himself? He's got Immortal with the pocket track. Gets Finzi with the ultimate, but no more. But Finzi, before he died, of course, gets the double kill with the self-destruct. And Facility still having Barbecue in his face with the D-Mech out, a Discord in his face, a rifle butt, and a secure from Epps will bring them the fight.
A little bit overcommitted there from Tracker, I think, bringing out the ult onto just Finzi alone. I understand you want to get rid of the D.Va, and 100% why not? I mean, it's Finzi for God's sake. But it was something they could have saved more for the point, I felt. They knew they were losing the fight on the actual zone itself. Save it for there and go for the clear out when the push comes through. That's why you've got the Reaper in this case. He's great for those zone fights. You let the tanks push into you, pop the ult, it's going to be very hard to run away. Either that or you lose all the shields.
We know Mao's like to play a lot of Zarya. Can you think of any reason why he would pick the Roadhog over the Zarya into this engagement?
I think because you're playing against the Soldier who's more mid-range, you want to get the grab onto him to remove him from the fight as quickly as possible. He's playing very safe at the minute. Just pull him out of the way, get rid of that damage from the Orgless and Hungry side, and go from there.
Well, Epps, he's taken out Limit Facility with the tack visor again onto Limit. This guy's not having a very good game at the moment. Facility again finds Insomniac as Shax goes into close range and beats the close quarters master of track. Mal's going to get staggered out. He knew he had no breath to take and no HP to live.
Shax was just like mine. Thanks for the ult charge in the final few health segments that he had remaining, as you say. As a Disband, flailing a little bit after their first point cap. They've just been taken over in terms of their percentage capture so far. We spoke a lot about this DPS duo. All that attention is now going on to Facility, but if you ignore Shax, we have seen what this guy can do with Tracer. Week 2, my biggest criticism of him was we haven't seen him play anything except the Tracer. When are we going to see more? We started to see more, but today going back to basics and showing us why.
He doesn't need to play anything else, though. He's doing everything he needs to on the Tracer.
What a grab.
Beautiful hook by Miles. Brings in Epps to kill. One support down on Orgless and Hungry. And Shax, he's going to return the favor with a Pulse Bomb. Tri-Spear, the Coalescence onto Immortal. Ho Hog for Miles. Not using it yet. It's the self-destruct. But take a breather. Going to give him some life. It's Finzi. Only finds Track with that bomb. And now stunned out of midair. Facility pulled into the face of Mouse, trying to bring the Soldier in close, and the whole Hog will seal the deal. The shrapnel going straight to the head of Facility. He moves onto the point for some more displacement. Misses the hook, but it's going to be very hard to lock down Shax on the Tracer. Transcendence, resetting the fight for Orgless and Hungry, keeping them all sustained. And that's a Disband. Can't get a foot on this point as the Moira, who's frontlining, has to back off. There is Finzi being demeched. Mouse still running onto the back line, but he's having a lot of difficulty staying alive. Has to move off the point as the tack visor. It's looking like a case of deja vu for Limit as he might go down to Facility again. Tonic is going to be the one to take the kill, but a double coming out from Facility, and it's all being staggered for That's a Disband. 99%. Nepal going 2-0 over to Orgless and Hungry.
Two very quick Nepal maps in both of the series so far today, and the really nice thing about that, I've got to say, the rotation between Facility and Shax. One fight was Shax, the next it was Facility. The pair of them just coming up really big, and that's what you want from your DPS. You don't want just one guy to shine because he's easy to focus. You want both of your players stepping up. That's always been the main criticism of That's a Disband, and for Orgless and Hungry, you can see why it's working.
So we can actually safely say that it wasn't a compositional flaw coming out in the previous game from Singularity, just a few mistakes with the play, but Orgless and Hungry showing us why it works when they put the resources into Facility. They allow Shax to do the solo game, be that lone wolf, and make sure Facility stays alive. And nearly every fight, that guy had a tack visor up.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy how much damage he was getting down, but for both of them, like say, both shining, getting 3 or 4 kills in a fight, that's what you rely on your DPS for. Tanks do their job, let the DPS do theirs, and the supports follow suit.
We're on the path to another 4-0, starting off with the first map. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you map number 2. Welcome back. We're going into map 2 of That's a Disband versus Orgless and Hungry. And Orgless and Hungry having an almost impeccable map 1 on the pile.
Hungry for the 4-0 today, it feels like, and definitely on. I've got to slide it in somewhere. Come on, we're in the penultimate week. It's got to be allowed. They are definitely on their path to getting there because a kind of performance like that, as said, they are firing on all cylinders today. Finzi, Tonic, all the Eps as well. All of them are just looking great, to be fair. We've harped on about the DPS a lot. That's a Disband, though. Still flailing a little bit, it feels. Got to see a bit more out of track. And what better map to do it than Second Point Hollywood? You know why I love it so.
Well, it's something to do with Widowmakers, sniper rifles, having duels, and this is where people always say it's about the Widow skill. I want to move it on to the conversation about the tanks. They were so pivotal in Series 1. They're going to be here with Series 2. The tanks creating space, creating distraction, applying pressure is what really tips the balance in these Widowmaker duels. And I feel Finzi and Tonic, they're well equipped to do that. Well,
we just literally saw Lucius and Elivote demolishing Obling when he was playing on the Widowmaker. Every single time they saw him, they went as a unit, dived onto him, forced him away from any kind of ground he was holding. And well, Obling didn't really have much chance to do anything. So I'm expecting here, we'll see the same as what's been That's a Disband's downfall in previous weeks, is you focus almost exclusively on track. Not to take away from Mouse, but he hasn't been super hot so far in recent weeks. He's not one of the standout Tracer players that we keep on seeing.
Well, he's going to go back onto that Tracer, and hopefully he can show us why. Maybe contend with Shaxx, but I feel in that Tracer duel, he will lose out to it. Shaxx is just a little bit of one of those players who's above and beyond. Not to take away from Mouse's ability, but Shaxx has just been exceptional so far. And Facility on that Soldier showing up in the previous round. Don't know if he'll opt to run it into this defense. They may see it go into the cafe, though, and make a Juggernaut 67 composition.
Tracer players everywhere, because, of course, in the next series of the day, we've got to consider that we've got Craggy facing off against Davin, which is a big one, too. However, in this one, it is all about the Shaxx. That's one we're looking towards. Currently sticking himself on the Roadhog, so likely going towards the triple tank setup, keeping the Soldier in the cafe. We've seen it quite a lot, and you've got a very, very popular term for this strategy.
Everyone keeps saying I've made a very popular term, and I keep applying it. I'm the only one who's been saying it. So at that point, is it that popular?
What can I say, mate? Whenever I hear Trash Compatriot, it makes me think of you.
Well, I'm not very compact, am I? So I don't know about that one.
Very well handled.
Into the map itself, though. We're going to go see that Soldier set up. This time, Immortal on the Lucio and Eps going for the Moira. So, bit of a deviation in supports from what we usually see on the defense, but also things have been changed up here because it's a triple tank composition with the Soldier this time around.
All about that protection, it feels, as well. And I agree. We're used to seeing the Mercy and the Zen play in this case, and, well, hey, want to go for the Lucio, go for the Moira. I think this is very much so. They know that they're going to get jumped onto, and they just want to retreat backwards. That's a Disband playing almost a full dive, but taking the Moira instead. More
than happy to concede the high ground with the amp it up from Lucio to reposition. That's a Disband going in hard with the dive. Finzi getting a return kill onto Tri-Spear. Limit going to follow. Track goes down as well. So whatever their dive plan was, it's been absolutely dismantled by Orgless and Hungry.
Bit of shock therapy there coming onto track. Not going to have much opportunity to do, well, anything on that first push. Got to say, though, shout out to Mouse, about to get his ult online, and that's going to be a big one for them to have on side. Question is, how can they best use it? Because otherwise, they've got no resources to offer to this next fight.
Barbie being the real MVP for his team there. Rather than let Mouse die, he body blocked and ended up losing his mech, so now he's just going to mini Diva pistol and try and reclaim that. Is applying pressure onto Facility and actually dislodged him. But Facility, he's not one to be messed around. He goes onto Mouse. Here's the amp it up to turn on the counter-attack for Orgless and Hungry, and they're taking the fight to that Disband. They won't be dived on. They're playing a Soldier. They don't have the components. They're willing to dive onto them.
Excellent push and strategy there coming out of Orgless, because essentially you've got, I love the sorry in front of his body on the ground. You have essentially a team of 5.5 when you've got Mini DV. You can't ignore that pistol because it can dink a few times. The fire rate isn't terrible. It's like a Mercy pistol on steroids at the best of times. So knowing it's 5.5, knowing there's no mech, they jump in, wipe them out incredibly quickly, and know that Finzi isn't going to have his mech in time.
Attack Visor on the high ground as a hook to secure the mech in place, but without that in the area, Kasoras will go down. It's a firing squad for Facility. But Tonic, he's the one getting some kills as well, and they've displaced Mouse. He's going to have to dash very fast if he wants to get anywhere near his spawn room, but they're going on the hunt. No prisoners, no surrender. Orgless and Hungry not falling over yet.
You can see why Shaxx was more than happy to say, yep, Roadhog will do me fine, because Facility is on fire on this Soldier, and I don't mean the in-game sense. Every single time they're going for this push, his shots are always on target. He's landing those Hex Rockets onto most crucial targets as well, whether it's the supports or even just something like the Tracer, where Mouse is completely on his own. Big, big shots from him, big plays from the team so far, and they've got 3 ultimates coming online.
But the Coalescence just went straight through Kasoras. The spotlight was surely on him.
Wow.
Facility finding Mouse, Eps on Tri-Spear. They pushed him all the way back to their spawn for about the 3rd time, Des.
They're staggering him completely, even using Lucio Boop to bring him back a little bit. He knows he's going to die here as soon as he tries to retreat, I think.
No, they're leaving him alive. Leave him alive. He hasn't got the mech. Why kill him? He's right by his spawn room.
He hasn't popped his ult yet. Going to have to farm that one back up, but he has gone for the instant change, I think, there. Maybe wasn't too close to the ult and thought, okay, I'm safe to change here. Never mind.
There's a lot of ultimates available for that to disband. Pulse Bomb, especially the Dragon Blade coming out from Track. Only the sound barrier from Immortal to try and negate it. But here's the Pulse Bomb coming out at the moment. Mouse, straight onto that. Finzi going to shut it all down. No supports available on the side of that to disband. As Track got 8 HP, not the right time to pop his blade as everything else has gone wrong for that to disband. 1 minute remaining for them.
It's so tough because by the time you manage to set up a dive and get into this back line of Orgless and Hungry, their tanks have just wiped out everyone else in the front line. That's a disband really flailing right now, and Barbie once again doing the switch, so sacrificing the ult charge he was very slowly accumulating, shall we say. And they're not going to see any self-destructs coming through for them. On the other side, though, Finzi's had 2 so far.
It's a difficult game for Barbie. He's onto the back line with that Dragon Blade, cuts through Immortal, so 1 support missing, no more speed boosts. Mouse onto Facility, finally gets his revenge. Shax with that whole hog, shutting down Track as Barbecue will finish him off with the micro missiles. Limit on the Primal Rage onto Epps. Finzi, last man standing on the point. Here comes a return from Tonic as he descends from the heavens, but he's got no wings on that Angel, and that's a disband. Force it on to the second phase of this map.
Better, so they managed to actually force their way on there. A bit of a positional error, I'd say, by Orgless and Hungry. Problem being, they left their supports and the soldier essentially just stood at the back of the point. As the disband saw them and thought, well, we've got full dives set up here. Let's just go all the way in, force ourselves onto those squishy members. One of the supports died almost straight away, and that was going to be the end of the fight for them.
With Facility costing his high ground position to go on the offensive and force out that to disband with the tack visor. Nowhere for Track to go, who wanted to get set up on that Widowmaker. They ran over them as Shax finding Limit. Barbecue taking out both the tanks.
Close.
And now Mouse, he's in full retreat mode. He's only got a sliver of HP. Will pick up the HP back and get the reinforcements from his team as they respawn.
More of the expected same, I guess, from Orgless and Hungry, just trying to push that to disband as far back towards their spawn as possible. There comes a time when you have to back away and just let them push forward a bit so you don't give them the spawn advantage in the fight. Not that Orgless and Hungry care, because they are literally wiping them every single time they step anywhere near the point.
The problem I'm having with Orgless and Hungry doing this, though, Des, is that they can do it as many times as they want, but they ultimately end up conceding the fight like they did on point A. It gives a window of avenue for that to disband to come back in, so maybe having a little bit more restraint as it goes on might help them out more in this series.
I think they won't be too upset because some teams, we saw this from Russia a lot at the World Cup, was essentially going for full holds on maps like this where the payload has a relatively dead zone, you'd say, to walk through. The next big point of contention looking for is probably going to be just as it gets between these 2 buildings. That's when you have the high ground advantage of the defensive side and you can collapse. That's why the team of Orgless and Hungry were more than happy to push forward and hold them as close to the spawn as they could.
Sending a self-destruct to dislodge Track, making sure he doesn't have that line of sight. Tonic getting a kill onto Limit with that Primal Rage, and has still not been able to force through this choke despite the payload moving beyond it.
Still no swap out, surprisingly, for Orgless and Hungry. I thought maybe we'd see someone switch over to the Widowmaker, but they're just saying, nope, Track's not a problem for us. Why try and match him? We can just keep him pinned in, he can't do anything.
Yeah, if you don't let him out and allow him to get onto these rooftops, it becomes incredibly hard for him to deal with. Beautiful stick. And he finds the triple! Shax, how did you do that?
Well, it's more like Tri-Spear. Why did you do that? Because he backed away into his own teammates and brought them down with him. Bit of a mistake on his side, but so far the whole map has been a bit of a mistake for that's a disband. Not going the way they would like.
40 seconds remaining and not much progress made into phase 2. Shax going to shut down Limit yet again as Tonic sits on Track. He can't get set up on this Widowmaker, and that's one of the problems we pointed out about that's a disband. Without Track being able to pop off, sometimes they just fall apart, and Orgless and Hungry are keeping them well contained. With Shax going down and the self-destruct going out, that might be the window to come back. Is this a repeat of point A where they get the picks? Overconfidence from Orgless and Hungry, costing them what could have been a full hold as they're going back in for the fight. Transcendence available for Tri-Spear. They got the D-Mech Immortal. Orb of Discord in his face. Just needs to get a couple of Orbs of Destruction to match him up. No res available. They get the payload in motion.
But still a long way to go. Essentially the full point of the second point push, sorry. Orgless and Hungry have got resources online. They've got the 2 tank ults coming online. They've almost got the Coalescence, and Facility is sat on that ever-terrifying tack visor as well. They're going to be in no pressure here. They're just like, yep, this is fine. You guys push all you like. We are going to spring out and murder you at a given second's notice.
Looking for the position. High ground seems to be favored. Shax has gone up there. Limit. And look at this. Tonic's already jumped onto Track. He's getting the pocket straight away. Limit going in for reinforcements with that Winston. Self-destruct going into the back line. Finds Mouse. It should be enough. Resurrection trying to come out. Hopefully that's dislodged by Tonic with the Resurrection. Immortal bringing Facility up. Epps with that orb onto Kasori's Track. Finally coming online. He's found Shax. He's found Epps. Looking for more as Finzi takes out Limit, but no one's on the point because Facility is there with attack visor.
How long they've been in overtime as well. It's always going to tick down nice and quick. One quick little push back from Orgless and Hungry, nothing too intense. And they managed to push them all the way back. So 1.5 points captured so far by That's a Disband. Orgless and Hungry are going to be feeling pretty good about this.
Well, you can see exactly where the point ended there. The car, not very far to go. A little bit of a distance. Have to go around one more bend to force out the third phase of the map. Orgless and Hungry, very impressive initial holds, both on the payload section and the capture point. But they always falter at the end, and I can't put my finger on why it happens.
Maybe it's a big block in the form of Orgless and Hungry just stepping up. And I don't know, it's, in some cases for That's a Disband, that was a one good final dive they had on that first point. The first few dives, very scattered, throwing Track into the backline on the Genji, and there was no support for him because all the tanks have been blocked from joining him. I don't know. It's again the togetherness, and we said this about Singularity in the last series on the desk. What we're not seeing them do is play as a cohesive unit. They've got members just kind of scattered left, right, and center, just trying to see what they can pick up. That communication and synergy is what's setting a lot of these mid-table teams from the top of the table teams. And let's not forget, coming into this week, Orgless and Hungry were #1. The way this is going so far, that doesn't look like it's going to change.
That's a Disband, probably going to run that Juggernaut 67 composition, or 76 composition, sorry, and keep him on that cafe. I don't imagine he'll hold the aggressive positioning on That's a Disband. I think they can't be matching up like that, unless they're expecting something that we're not able to see just yet because Orgless and Hungry haven't locked in their composition. But I can see Visility keeping on the Farah.
Essentially, if Immortal goes across to the Mercy, they'll definitely be running something along those lines. And you can understand why. If you've seen what That's a Disband are going to go for, they probably imagine it'd be similar to the comp that they've just played themselves. Of course, we saw Mouse. It was in place of Mouse on the Tracer. We saw the Roadhog last time. They're opting to go for more the standard setup that you might say. Seeing the Mercy and the Zen to support the Soldier as best they can. Have Mouse run Disruption off to the side, trying to pick off the supports before they go for the dive. Orgless and Hungry, though, playing the Farah, it's going to be quite hard to adapt for that.
Playing into a Soldier, well, it's all on Visility to be able to shut that down and have that reinforcement of his team to apply that pressure to make it easier for him. They're taking the terrace already, so that's where That's a Disband was set up, not using Cafe, instead they're playing further back underneath that lift.
Trying to find the angle right now. High ground, the prepping, the staging, whatever you want to call it, has been taken by Orgless and Hungry, and here comes the dive.
Straight onto Tri-Spear, they want to take out one of the supports rather than heading for Soldier straight away. Epps shuts down Mal, so it doesn't work on the flip side.
Soldier's
and
gone.
Shax taking out Track. Just the Mercy alive. As soon as they shut down Kasoras, there's no more healing, and it's all going to be going south, but That's a Disband.
So tough when you've got a team this coordinated jumping onto your backline. The Zenyatta is always going to be the first target unless the Mercy is proving truly problematic. Orgless and Hungry are like, well, we'll corner you into this very, very tight back area. You can't retreat any further, and sadly, there is a wall there waiting to stop you, and we are on the other side. That was a new form of trash compactor.
Exactly, and they got the high ground on that terrace, and they hold it. They composed themselves. They waited for the mobility cooldowns to come back up, and they were like, right, anyone got a good sight? Visility, can you see anything on that Farah? And he goes, Track. Now he's able to set up on this Widowmaker. Will it be the difference maker for That's a Disband?
That's what they'll be riding on, I think. And sadly, this has been the strategy for That's a Disband in most of the recent weeks, is how big can Track be, essentially, for us. We've said a few times, though, these top teams, it's all about the top-tier duos now. It's no longer about the individual. It's about the unit.
Well, Visility on the Genji. Shax taking out Track, so they've missed a key component. They're all falling back onto the supports. They know what comes next. Kasoras taken out by Tonic and a D-Mech on the Barbie. Without that mech, he's not protecting very much of anyone. The payload still in motion while all the chaos was happening.
Well, what can I say? Fully expected so far. As soon as you get that return to the Widow, you know there is no real big threat up there. No headshot potential coming through onto the Winston, for example. Just dive in, wipe out any supports that were there trying to res him or even keep him alive in the first place. They've got 4.5 minutes to push almost nowhere.
Well, with Infosights available for Shax, they know every avenue they're going to take to get out onto the point. Limit using the Primal Rage. Track cuts through facilities. The self-destruct finds no one. Transcended by Epps being answered, or the Transcendence of Tri-Spear. Another self-destruct going into the air. Mortal brings up Visility. Limit taken out by the self-destruct. You see Mouse dancing around, trying to give some long-range support. Shax can't find the shots. He's lost interest. He's going on to someone else, but finally brings Mouse down, not with a headshot, with a body shot. Tonic, Shax, they're the ones getting the kills. Payload goes in motion, and Orgless and Hungry go to the halftime 2-0.
I love how at the very end there, Shax was like, sorry, mate, you're on your own now, and turned his attention elsewhere. Took 3 shots, was like, I'm not looking good right now, let's look somewhere else. But what did look good was the team as a whole. Orgless and Hungry, almost as dominating as the last series. And I said to you when we were sat out there doing some analysis, this is one of the stompiest series we've seen. This one is looking to go exactly the same way. It's
just not very nice. If you're tuning in, then you see That's a Disband being pushed into their spawn on their offensive runs and then also on their defensive runs. They wouldn't let them out of the set to come and contest that payload when it was just inching closer and closer to victory for Orgless and Hungry.
Yeah, if That's a Disband, a lot of work to do here, and not something I'm sure can be fixed in the 5-minute break they're going to have. Have to wait and see how the second half goes.
Well, we'll hopefully get some predictions and some breakdowns from our analysts. We're going to go to a quick break first. When we come back, we're going to get you in that halftime.